Brian Sequeira. I'm the product manager that works on the urgent care modules, and today the tracking board is essentially an upgrade to the office visit screen. The easiest way to access the tracking board is from the S drop-down right here, and then clicking on tracking board. Another feature that you can use with the tracking board is to set it as your default home screen using the My Settings. Now let's go over all the tabs in the tracking board. When you're on the tracking board, on the left side, it displays what date you're looking at. You can change the date, but it defaults to today. Other additional filters up on the top are the provider drop-down. If you're working with a particular provider for the day, you could select the provider that you're working on, or you could set this to all. For urgent cares and convenient care clinics, you might be changing a facility every day. The easiest way to do that is to select which facility you're working on. This is also a multi-select, so if you have more than one facility, you can select that as well. The next item over here is you can also filter by is the visit status. So if you're a nurse that's working on rooming patients and you only want to see patients that have been marked as arrived, you can set the visit status to only arrived, and you'll only see patients on the tracking board once they're marked as arrived. Other options that you're very familiar with from the office visit screen is checked in only patients, only notes that are locked, or only notes that are unlocked. These are really good features for physicians who are trying to lock their notes at the end of the day. Additionally, on the top, you have 4 different tabs. The first is the waiting room. The system is designed to automatically put every patient marked as arrived in the waiting room. The flow would be when a patient walks in and they create an appointment, the system marks them as arrived with the time that they walked in. This helps the nurse who is rooming patients to accurately see who's next in line. The system also displays the arrival time and the amount of time they spend in the clinic. The next tab is the My Patients tab. This tab is only available to physicians. As soon as a note is assigned to a physician or a patient is assigned to the physician, this list will show you only the patients that are assigned to that physician. The All Active tab shows you all the patients in the clinic for that time and day. As soon as the patient is marked as checked out, the patient gets moved over to the Discharge tab. Let's go through the flow. Patient John Primark has been set into the waiting room. They've been waiting in for 26 minutes, and their status arrived. If another patient walks into the waiting room at that point in time, you can create new appointments from the tracking board by clicking on the New Visit button. From here, you can search for the patient name. Selecting the provider and resource is not important at this time. You can change this when the patient's been ready to see by the next provider. You'll notice that the system defaults to the current time as the time of the appointment, and the visit status as well is set to arrive/check-in. And the patient gets created right here. We'll move over to the next tab to show you the next flow. Assuming that the patient is ready to be seen, you can change the designation of who is going to see this patient. For example, the next provider that's available is Rory Glowick. You can change the provider and resource directly from here with one click. The patient is now assigned to Rory Glowick. The alert section shows in-house lab orders that are placed, diagnostic imaging, procedures, medication orders, immunizations and injectables, and referrals. On the top left indicates there is an in-house lab order placed. This lets them know that they need to go into the room, collect their lab sample. The legend at the bottom tells you what status each of the alerts are in. The gray stands for the blue for collected, the red for the result has been received, and once the result has been reviewed, the status changes to green. Another feature of the tracking board is that in-house lab results can be added directly from the tracking board. The results are actually set to be structured in a drop-down value, so the user does not have to type the result in. You can also set the status of these results as abnormal, normal, critical high, critical low, abnormal high, abnormal low. In this case, I've set the status as red as critical high. You can also mark the result as received from the screen and click on OK. As you notice, the status on the tracking board changes, allowing the physician to know that they can go back into the room and discuss the results with the patient. Another feature with the filters on the top, a default template. For example, if I always want to see the provider as Sam Willis, the facility as Vespero Urgent Care, and the visit status as checked in, set those statuses up. Click on the default button here. Give it a default name and set this default. What this allows by user the ability to quickly default to that template without having to leave the screen. Finally, the tracking board also allows you to set which columns within the tracking board you like to see. For example, if you do not want to see the time in clinic, simply uncheck the column and the system removes the column. The arrival time column and the room number column also have sorts. You can sort by ascending or descending. The room number column is also free text. If you have a procedure room, you can type that in there. Once the patient has been treated and all labs have been collected and reviewed, you can move the status of the patient discharge. Discharge a patient, select them, and click on Discharge. This moves the patient from the all active list over to the discharge list. This is a great tool for the front desk when checking out a patient. This